people have the right to put laws in their countries that will be favorable to them. Now, whether it favors everybody, that is another conversation. But that is also a conversation that the people for whom the law is made for will sit down and address. South Africa is capable of handling their issues. I don't know to the extent of how good or bad this South African law is, but the only way to find out is to sit down and have a civil conversation. You're just threatening everybody. And Ramaphosa said, hold it there. Not here. Don't bring it here. We don't do that here in South Africa. So stay in your America, handle your business, while we stay in South Africa and handle our business. Welcome everyone. My name is Osih-Oyelude. Okay. All right. So some sort of like a diplomatic row is brewing between South Africa and America. Well, I would say and Donald Trump, because it's not the whole of America. So yeah, so it all started last month when South African President Cyril Ramaphosa signed into law a bill allowing land seizure by the state on certain conditions without compensation. Well, this move has put him at odds with some members of his government who are not really pleased because the bill seems to like it's going to affect more like the rich. Okay, now the story that we've always heard is that, the land in South Africa, that the blacks only have a fraction of the percentage of the land. And this is even after 30 years, after the end of the apartheid government. It's still so. Majority of the land is in the hands of the white minority. So this, disparity is what they have always, like the people, the blacks, have always, asked their government to address. That they cannot own the land. It cannot be their land. The black people, they are owning just a little fraction of it. Meanwhile, the whites, who are in the minority, own majority. So that was the disparity that they wanted the government to address. So the president's party, the ANC, hailed this move as a significant milestone in the country's transformation, while some members of the coalition government say they may challenge it in court. So let me try to break it down in the best way I understood it after reading and researching. So if you're a South African, if you come here and maybe I'm not fully representing it well, it's not a time for insults. It's a time to educate everybody so we understand. So for those who will tell me, go and do your research, I have done my research. This is what I found out. It is what, we don't live in South Africa, it is what is out there that we see and we will talk about, right? So I'm using this to tell those who will tell us, go and do your research. It's not us, it is what is out there. So that means what the media is bringing out from your country that they feed to people outside. And so it's not everybody that will have to come on ground to see some of all these things. Some people will have to rely on what your media is bringing out. So I'm just saying this because there are some videos that I've done about South Africa, and they're always like, go and do your research, go and do your research. And I always keep telling you people, it is what is out there that we're talking about. This is how we see it. This is how we see it. So if you think you know anything contrary, or is what could be added, it is not time for insult, because once you insult, you have lost the right or the opportunity to educate people to know better. So people will just zone off. So all I'm just saying is, nobody's attacking you people. Let's just understand. So like I said, I repeat, based on what I have researched, based on what I have read online, what I'm saying is what I saw. So yeah. Now, they're saying that the law outlines how expropriation can be done and on what basis by the state. Now, for those who do not know, expropriation is when the state, retrieves the land, maybe any land from somebody, to use it for something in the interest of the people. And when they do that, normally, I think they're supposed to compensate. So the law that the South African government is signing to bill is if they have to take it from you, maybe to do whatever it is for the interest of the country, they will not pay. They will not compensate you. Let me just read it out here now. Expropriation is the action by the state or an authority of taking property from its owner for public use or benefits. Yes, so this bill now will replace the Pre-Democratic Expropriation Act of 1975, which placed an obligation on the state to pay owners it wanted to take land from under the principle of willing seller, willing buyer. But the new law allows for expropriation without compensation, only in the circumstances where it is just and equitable in the public interest to do so. This includes if the property is not being used and there is no intention to either develop or make money from it, or when it poses a risk to the people. Now, under the law, the state may not expropriate property arbitrarily or for the purpose of other than in the public interest. Expropriation may not be exercised unless the expropriating authority has without success attempted to reach an agreement with the owners. So it's like this law or this new bill is not going to be beneficial to like a lot of the rich, like the white minority who are the major landowners. It's like the law is not going to be beneficial to them. So I don't know whether they are the ones that have gone to be whispering into Donald Trump's ears, or I don't know if Elon Musk is, I don't know, but someone has gone to whisper to Uncle Donald's ears. And then he woke up one morning, he wrote this on Truth social media. I'll be cutting off all future funding to South Africa until a full investigation of this situation has been completed. Well, Trump is saying he's going to cut funding to South Africa over allegation that he was confiscating land and treating certain class of people very bad. Now, you see, Trump is now threatening everybody. Since he came into office, he's been from one threat to another. He will just hear this, I'm increasing tariffs, I'm cutting funding, this, that. Now, for some countries in the West, like China, Canada, Mexico, some countries like that, like the Western countries, he is actually increasing tariffs. But for Africa, I mean, that is our own punishment. But for Africa, our own punishment is that he's cutting funding. You see the difference? Africa, we are like beggars. They are cutting funding, like people that are sprinkling food into, or sprinkling something, they're cutting funding. Because I remember when they talked about, cutting funding for HIV, of course, which is to Africa, we all Africans almost had panic attacks because we are all always just depending on them. We just always depend on them. So he kind of wanted to carry this, quote and unquote thing to South Africa. And Ramaphosa said, hold it there. Not here. Don't bring it here. We don't do that here in South Africa. So stay in your America, handle your business, while we stay in South Africa and handle our business. Take a look.
This issue that Donald Trump fears so much, we offer this question of the land. I don't know what Donald Trump has to do with South African land, because he's never been here. And he must keep his America. We will keep our South Africa. That is what he must do. South Africa is our land. South Africa belongs to all the people who live here in South Africa. It does not belong to Donald Trump. He can keep his America. And Ene is even worse. He's even worse. When I meet him, I will tell him. I will say, you, Donald Trump, you are even worse because your forebears came to America. They found the native, the indigenous Americans. They wiped them out. They killed nearly all of them. Rine, we are living as a nation, and black and white, we are going to find solutions for our land question. So Donald Trump must leave us alone. He must leave us alone, Maori. When we were facing apartheid, when we were facing oppression, he was not here. He did not fight side by side with us. And we were able, on our own, yes, with support of progressive forces in the world, to resolve the apartheid question. As far as I recall, Donald Trump was not around the negotiating table when we negotiated the end of apartheid. So stick around there in the White House. We will do our business here, and we will find solutions for our problems. So stay out of our issues, and we will not get involved in your issues in America. You have your own problems. Leave us alone.
Like, you just cannot just sit in the White House and just threaten people. From the White House, you're threatening people in South Africa. Like, I don't know whether you quite understand what they are trying to do. Even if I'm not saying I don't know to the extent of how good or bad this South African law is, but the only way to find out is to sit down and have a civil conversation. Where do you meet in the middle? How do you tackle it? How do we do it so that everybody, it will be like equity, everybody we have. The blacks who are the owners of the land we have, the whites who are, well, they've come to live here, there is no way you can change it, we'll have, everybody will be happy. Instead of you just coming in and I want to comfort, you're just threatening everybody. Like, people have the right to put laws in their countries that will be favorable to them. Now, whether it favors everybody, that is another conversation. But that is also a conversation that the people for whom the law is made for will sit down and address. South Africa is capable of handling their issues. But that you would just sit down and be threatening everybody with increased tariffs, with cutting of funds, like, it's just not like making any sense anymore. Like, you are the president of America. Yes, America is big, but you will understand that, yes, that people just need to be talked to respectfully. You just went on Twitter and you're talking to a president of another sovereign country, like he's your boy, like you will cut funding to that country. I mean, when the president is saying that the only funding that comes to, South Africa, that they know, like the major funding, is like HIV funding. So it's a big deal, but I'm just saying that when there is a more civilized way to tackle issues, because if this law was against black people, I'm not sure Donald Trump will have anything to say. If this thing doesn't favor the South Africans, the black South Africans, he will not say, I'm sure, because this thing is more or less going to affect majority of the whites. That is why it's looking like it's all of a sudden Donald Trump's business. But the president is saying, nope, not on my watch. This is our country. This is our problem. We will deal with it. I like it. I like the fact that you don't bamboozle people. that you won't, because there's a place where you're helping people, you will not play God in people's lives or people. It's a sovereign country. Like you see, Africa, may God help us one day. Let's be a self-sufficient continent, because some of all those things, just because of we are the ones that are helping. We always come off like beggars, people needing aid, people needing funds, people needing grants, people needing this. So that's why they always put us here and not here. So they work all over, even if what America is giving you, because I know that a country like South Africa is big enough to be sufficient. So because I was already wondering, what could they possibly be needing from America? But obviously there is something. So that means if America's $1 is coming to your country, they just feel like they have the right to interfere in some sort of your national, issues. They haven't called you. So you don't just go in. If they call you, you can go in and speak. When they made that law, they weren't talking to you. So the law was not meant for Americans, it's meant for South Africans. So let them deal with their issue. Those who are aggrieved about the law or the new bill, they can sit down as South Africans and they will tackle it. On this one, I'm on the side of South Africa. I know there was some of them will come here and tell me that because they're always insulting me, a lot of them. But like, I love the fact that he could stand up and talk. I love the fact that he's talking tough and speaking with his full chest. Yes, you're giving fund. So you want to enter and okay, you are giving fund for AIDS, HIV, but you are putting mouth on land issue. For a country that have gone through it, especially when it comes to the land ownership, how the majority of the land is in the hand of the white minority, they are looking for how to balance it out so that they can address the disparity in land ownership. And from there, you're already saying, like, the tone of that post doesn't look like somebody who wants to hear from both sides. It's just like a tone of somebody who is already taking sides, in as much as he's saying that I will do my investigation and then if you want to do investigation first, it's not the sanction you want to give after the investigation you should be putting out first. You won't be saying cutting funding. You can even have started by saying that, okay, I want to get in to look at it and then necessary appropriate actions will be taken. End it there. Cut funding, cut funding, cut funding, cut funding. You see, Africans, we better just get up. We need to rise up. We can't always continue to depend because when you continue, we all continue to depend, even if it's for the smallest thing that they're given. This is how they will be talking to us. You see, he can't even talk about cutting funding to Canada or to China. The highest he can do is, see the difference. For these countries, he's increasing tariffs because those will always have things that they will give to America. So it's not a case of cutting funds. But Africa, it looks like there's nothing we can give to them. They don't give it to us, so they're cutting funds. Cutting. Like our life is in their hands. Like once they are giving us things in Africa, when they tell us jump, we ask them how high. Like our leaders should sit up. They should all sit up. We should be able to be exchanging things and be sending things to them, and they send to, like, it should be like some partnership, not always we needing them to give us. And when you're taking from people, they will not see you more than like a beggar. Anyway, that's all I have to say. That's it. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and let's continue to build this community. Thank you, and I see you again soon.